HBO's A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms adapts the Hedge Knight with a level of faithfulness that really feels uncanny. Watching the first two episodes can feel less like viewing an adaptation and more like seeing George R. R. Martin's novella quietly rise off the page and begin moving under its own power. And yet, the most interesting part of this adaptation is not what the show keeps. It is what it changes. Because every change is careful, intentional, and revealing. These are not deviations born of convenience. They are choices that show a deep understanding of the source material and of what television as a medium requires. Episodes 1 and 2 follow the structure, dialogue, and spirit of the Hedge Knight with remarkable precision. But where the show diverges, it does so in ways that subtly enhance the story for the screen while preserving Martin's theme. So let's start with episode 1, The Hedge Knight. Much of the first episode is lifted directly from the novella. Dunk buries Sir Arlen and wrestles with doubt. He meets Egg at an inn. He arrives at Ashford and speaks with Plummer. He learns that he must find a lord to vouch for him if he hopes to compete. Raymond Fossaway feels as though he stepped directly out of illustrations. Tansel performs her puppet show. The episode closes with the falling star. Entire stretches of dialogue feel almost verbatim from the page. And yet, the show immediately reveals how thoughtful it intends to translate internal prose into visual storytelling, such as Dunk's internal thoughts becoming dialogue. In the novella, we live inside Dunk's head. His insecurities, gentleness, and self-doubt are conveyed through internal monologue. On screen, this becomes Dunk speaking to his horses. It's a simple device, but a brilliant one. It preserves his introspection without resorting to clumsy narration and, at the same time, establishes his tenderness with animals and his slightly awkward nature. It's a near-perfect adaptation choice. Red and Bonnie, new female voices. One of the quiet limitations of the Hedge Knight is the near absence of women. The show introduces Red and Bonnie to camp followers, commenting on knighthood from outside its romanticized frame. Their comparison between knighthood and sex work, the idea that both require using one's body for the entertainment of the powerful, is not found in the book, but it unmistakably is the spirit of Martin's worldview. They give a voice to the harsh reality that the novella implies, but never states outright. Hedge Knights are expendable bodies and a spectacle controlled by nobles. Next, Lionel Baratheon's expanded role. In the books, Lionel Baratheon is memorable, but peripheral. In the show, he becomes central to Dunk's emotional journey. They drink together, dance, and Lionel gives Dunk a simple but transformative piece of advice. You're tall. Be tall. Shortly after, Dunk calls himself Sir Duncan the Tall. This is entirely a show invention, and a brilliant one, because decades later in Westerosi history, Dunk will defeat Lionel in a trial by combat during Lionel's rebellion against King Aegon V. The show is laying emotional groundwork for an event far in the future, demonstrating remarkable long-term storytelling foresight. Next, Tansel's puppets, a visual upgrade. In the book, Tansel's puppets are small handheld figures. On screen, they become towering, human-sized creations. Nothing thematic is lost, but the episode is amplified for television. It's a purely visual enhancement that respects the spirit of the scene. And finally, the fallen star, a shared moment. In the novella, Egg sleeps while Dunk privately thinks, "So the luck is mine alone." In the show, Egg speaks the line and Dunk replies, "So the luck is ours alone." A private thought becomes a shared bond, and Egg's quiet wisdom is introduced earlier. Okay, let's move on to episode 2, Hard Salt Beef. The second episode remains faithful to the events of the novella, but begins to make more structural adjustments. These changes are subtle, but telling. Dunk continues searching for a sponsor. He meets the Targaryen princes. He meets Staley Pate. Egg helps him navigate social embarrassment. His insecurity about Sir Arlen's legacy remains intact, but here the show begins reshaping Dunk in an important way. First, Dunk is not thick. He is uncertain. In the book, Dunk constantly calls himself slow and stupid. In the show, he is awkward and naive, but clearly capable. The most significant example of this is him meeting with Baelor Breakspear. In the novella, Dunk meets Baelor by accident and embarrasses himself without realizing who he's speaking to. In the show, Dunk intentionally seeks Baelor out to ask for help. This transforms Dunk from a man who stumbles into fate into a man attempting, however clumsily, to shape it. It is a modern storytelling choice that preserves his character while making him more active and compelling on screen. Next, the tourney feels more alive. alive. A tug-of-war between Baratheon and Tyrell does not exist in the book, but it adds texture. It reminds the viewers that medieval tourneys were social events filled with games, drinking, and camaraderie, not just jousting. It also deepens Dunk and Lionel's growing familiarity. Next, Steely Pate's shortened scene. In the novella, Dunk kneels while Pate measures him, a moment that visually mirrors a knighting ceremony. The show shortens this interaction, losing a quiet, powerful metaphor, especially meaningful for readers who believe Sir Arlen may never have knighted Dunk at all. Gwen calling Dunk stupid. In the book, Dunk hears this sentiment repeatedly. The show gives us this line to Lord Ashford's daughter, preserving the theme while increasing female presence. Lastly, the early Blackfyre mention. Egg shouted, "Do you yield, Blackfyre bastard?" introducing the shadow of the Blackfyre Rebellion much earlier than the novella emphasizes. The show is preparing viewers for the political undercurrent that will shape future seasons. The core difference, book Dunk versus show Dunk. The most important adaptation decision in episode 1 and 2 is this. Book Dunk believes he is stupid. Show Dunk believes he is inadequate. That is a crucial distinction. He remains humble, awkward, and uncertain, but he is also observant, capable, and proactive. This makes him more engaging for television without betraying the heart of who he is. Episodes 1 and 2 are astonishingly faithful to the Hedge Knight, yet the changes serve 3 clear purposes. 1. Increasing female presence in the story. 2. Making Dunk slightly more proactive and intelligent. And 3. Planting long-term narrative scenes early. Lionel, Baelor, Blackfyre. This is an adaptation that understands the source material so thoroughly that it knows exactly where it is safe and beneficial to adjust for television. And that is why it works. So thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and come back for more World of Ice and Fire videos.